All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we have a keynote speaker tonight, and if I go on to read out his credentials, probably we will be halfway through the session itself. So let me very quickly tell you what Abhishek Mishra, who is the keynote speaker tonight, has been doing for so many years and why he is so famous. Abhishek has run and completed Ultraman, which is a 3-day event. Ultraman has 515-kilometer multi-sport race, and the stage one is 10-kilometer ocean swim, followed by 145 kilometers of cross-country bike. Stage two is 276 kilometers cross-country bike, and stage three is 84 kilometers run. Each stage has to be completed in 12 hours or less to get qualified. Abhishek also has completed Ironman, and not just once, he has done it 4 times: 2015, 16, 18, and 19. Ironman again is a very exhausting 1-day event, which includes 3.86 kilometers swim, 180.25 kilometers of bike ride, and 42 kilometers of run. It is widely considered as one of the most difficult 1-day sporting events in the world. So Abhishek, after quitting his corporate job, has been into running and been a triathlete who has been inspiring people across. And our paths crossed probably when Abhishek started Lucknow half marathon. And I was in Lucknow at that time, and we collaborated to conduct that event, which was a super hit. With that, we could see that the model of running as well as consciousness towards fitness did start in Lucknow as well. He has been running such sports events like half marathon and full marathons in Gurgaon and other cities through his company called Tabono Sports. Abhishek is also an author, and he has written a book which he probably would be talking about in his speech or towards the end of it. So, without wasting any further time, I would like to hand over the stage to Abhishek. Let us welcome Abhishek Mishra, the Ultraman and the Ironman finisher. Over to you, Abhishek. You can unmute and come in.
Thank you, Mudit. Thank you for this great introduction. I think you have covered everything, whatever I would have shared. So, so as you said that this platform is about sharing stories, and I'm going to share one incident, one story which changed my life completely. The way I look at life, the approach, how I live my life, and as you said that this platform is about stories, and this is what will come as a learning of this whole incident what happened. So when I was I was always into endurance sports since my childhood. So I used to play soccer for say 3 3 4 4 hours. I was playing national level football when I was in my college days, and from there when people started going in this race of living life, grabbing every opportunity what they get, be it job, be it their social life, you start getting concentrated somewhere at that particular point, that how do you want to live it, looking at what others are living in. And this is what the whole crux of this story is, that we don't live our life basis what we want to do, and suddenly we realize that we are living life basis what others wanted us to do. And this is where everything started. So I was into running since 2010, started doing half marathons until 2012 and 13. So in 2013, one incident happened. One of my masters, my MBA friend, he sent me a video, and he said that you know what, you should look at this and you should go and do this event. Now I had this intention that okay, I don't know what he wants to share because he's from advertising field, so I ignored it completely. And then again after a week, this guy messaged me and he asked me that did you have a look on the video? And I'm like, nahi, why? So he's like, you have to see it right now. So when I started looking at the video, it was about the Ironman triathlon. So it talks about the swimming. It shows the video where they're like amazing endurance athletes who are running. You can see their muscles like brick by brick. There are people swimming, thousands of people entering the ocean and swimming together, then cycling, then running. So as soon as I saw that video, like say around 15, 20 seconds, my first reaction to that video was, I went back and I told him, I said, dude, I can't do this. I don't know why I said that, And the next line, what he said, is actually the beginning of change in my life. He wrote, he said, Abhishek, in you we trust. And I'm like, look at this guy who's a chain smoker, keeps smoking up, has never gone out of his house to run even 1 mile. He's having trust that I can go and finish Ironman race, which is the single day toughest sports of this world. So I was surprised and I didn't write anything and I was like quiet for some time. And then I went back to that video again. And then when I started watching it, it was completely a different video for me. So that video starts with one single line. It says, there are two kind of people in this world. One who say I can and one who say I can't. And when this line was going, there was pin drop silence. They were showing ocean and they were showing, lots of people, when they're standing and they're not swimming, they're in the water treading. So I can see thousands of legs and a pin drop silence after this statement. That was the freezing moment for me where I started thinking that I said that I am among those people who say I can't. Because I just now, like few seconds back, I told my friend that I can't do it. So I'm like, yaar, how am I different? मैंने भी वही बोला है जो, and imagine I could not hear the same line when I watched the video like a minute back. I ignored it, and that's how we are in life. We are so much ignorant about multiple things going around us. For small happiness, things what we talk to our friends, what we talk to our family. Sometimes we ignore. Your parents say something and you don't listen to the thing, and that's something which is very important. So when I heard that line, that was in September 2013, where I decided that I don't know what will happen, but I am going to be a person who will say I can forever in my life now. I am not going to say I can't, whatever happens. And that's where this journey of endurance sports, rigorous endurance sports started. That from a marathoner, I started, to go towards triathlon. And I was never a swimmer, okay? I was always into running. So I went next day and I bought a road bike. I started cycling. And because I knew that, okay, I don't know swimming and I have fear of water, what should I do next? And that time, Milind and I, we used to do Pinkathon together, the women runs. And Milind obviously is known as one of the, before his supermodel and acting and all, he was national champion swimming. So I kept on asking him, I said, I want to do triathlon. Please, teach me how to swim. And, we used to hear one story in our childhood that there was some, there was a bird in a farm where a farmer used to, come to the farm and says, ki, aaj main is fasal ko katwa dunga. And the kids used to tell this mother every day that yahan se ud ke bhag jate hain, farm katega and we'll be dead. So till the day the farmer said that I will come and cut this farm, the mother used to keep telling these small birds that no, don't worry, nobody will come and cut it. And that I remembered. I'm like, dude, it's me who has to learn swimming. Going to people and asking them that teach me, nobody will come and teach me. I have to start it somewhere. So 2015 March, I went and I registered for this triathlon called Ironman in Spain. Until that, I thought I was the only Indian who was going and representing India in that event. So when I registered, very interesting thing what happened was, I wanted some pressure on me that I should do it this year. It's been 2013, I thought of 2014 is gone and 2015 is there. I went and I expressed this on social media. So every year I used to announce it in September on my birthday, but this year I went in March and I said, I've registered for the Ironman triathlon, which is the single toughest sports, and I'm going to do it. Another surprising thing what happened was, knowingly, unknowingly, people will start questioning you. They will start questioning your skill set, whether you're qualified to do it or not. Even if it could be a doubt in their own mind, तो सबको लगता था कोई swimming नहीं कर सकता, but they are not asking themselves, they're asking me. There are like hundreds of questions on Facebook asking me, यार तेरे को तो swimming आता नहीं है, how will you do Ironman? There's 4 kilometers of swimming in ocean. So I'm like, yeah, but तो आता तो तुम्हें भी नहीं है. They're like, yeah, then how will you do it? I said, but that is my challenge. Let me take a call on it. Before I started swimming, or start learning swimming, everybody started questioning. How will you do it? How will you do it? And these questions in our daily life creates confusion and fear in our mind. Because when you want to start something new, people who have never done it, they will start questioning because they have not done it. And वो जो social pressure हम अपने mind में उसकी वजह से we start doubting ourselves. And this is where that same conversation with my friend used to help me to be motivated. I'm like, yaar, ye to abhi doubt kar rahe, what will happen? I'm like, no, I have to do it because I have to be that guy who will say I can do it. So in April, I checked with one of my friend in Gurgaon, and she said that she'll help me, train. So in April, um, there's a noise in the mic when you're moving. Okay, sorry. So then in April, I asked her, and she's like, okay, I'll start. I'll teach you. And we started going to a 25-meter pool. I started learning swimming. You won't believe, April is the time I started learning. May, June, July. In the month of July, in that same 25-meter pool, I swam 3.8 kilometer, which is the Ironman distance swim. The cutoff in Ironman is 2 hours 20 minutes. In Gurgaon, in that pool, I finished that swim in 1 hour 55 minutes. You won't believe the confidence which I had that particular day. And I did the same thing, and I went back on Facebook without tagging these people and these friends. I went and I said that today, in 3 months of dedicated training, I have finished the Ironman swimming distance. Though I've never been to an ocean or a sea, but now I know that I can swim 3.8 kilometer in that particular cutoff of that, of the time what is there. So that is what happens, when you achieve something which everybody was doubting across you or around you. The confidence what you get is something which is really amazing, and I felt that. So with that, in I was at September, I was supposed to fly on Thursday, and another incident what happened during all this is that on a week before Friday evening, my travel agent sent me a mail saying that sorry, you have to get the Schengen visa for Spain, right? And I had left my job, so my visa got denied. And not only like rejected, they put a stamp on my passport saying visa rejected. Now imagine 6 months of training. I was sponsored by Coal India, okay, and everybody was eyeing on it because we were training for it on social media. It was like a big thing because nobody had knew about Ironman triathlon that time in India. Hardly 10 people had done it. I was shattered. And when I was shattered and I expressed it, you won't. So on next day evening, Saturday, I thought, let me try if somebody can help. So I went and I wrote on my social media saying that 6 months of training and all this money spent and all, I don't know what will happen, but my visa got rejected. Another learning what I got was, I posted it at 11 o'clock Saturday morning. By Saturday evening, 10 p.m., I was crying reading what had happened. Some 150 people commented on that post. Not even a single sympathy, but everybody came up with a solution. And by evening 10 p.m., I had an invitation letter from Barcelona, which is a Spanish girl. She sent me a letter through a common friend. I had my friend who was working in Stancy that time as a director. He has called his friend who was a director of VFS to look for my document, why it got rejected. One of my very close friend in Delhi called the ex-ambassador of Spain who was partying in Goa to call the embassy and let me get the visa. Another travel agent friend of mine came to my house to arrange my document so that I can apply it again next time. Another friend said that if required, her aunt works as a PRO in PMO, and if required, they can get a call done from there so that I get visa. See, imagine these kind of incident when this happens, when you don't know these people, right? So what is there which is connecting you both is the dedication and passion what they have seen in past 4-5 months what I've been doing. I went back on Monday, applied for the visa, and there was another guy, Alfredo. He stays in Delhi right now. Also, he has lived in India that time for like 10 years. He gave another letter on A4 sheet saying that why will Abhishek go and participate, represent India, and come back. This has never happened before, I think, and lots of people still call me when their visa gets rejected. I applied on Monday morning. Tuesday evening, I had my passport along with Schengen visa approved on my passport, and Thursday was my flight. So this was the second best thing to give me the confidence happened. So I was in Spain now, for the triathlon, and I registered for Spain because 27th September was my birthday, and this event was on 26th September. So by the time I'll finish it, it will already, it's already 27th in India. So it's like a birthday gift for me. So we were there, we started swimming, and then, I had this fear of going into the water. So somehow I was fighting through it. And there was some incident which I'll cut it because of the short time. So we entered the water. The event started on 26 September. There were some 1,400 people who participated from all across the world. We were like 4 Indians who were representing India at that time. in that year. Started swimming. After 600 meters, I was confident. I was singing song while swimming. You won't believe. I was like singing and swimming and singing. So when I finished my swim and I looked at my watch, it was 1 hour 45 minutes. 10 minutes better than what I had done 4 months back in the swimming pool. So I was super excited. And this is where, I don't know about others, but I have seen lots of my Indian friends, we get overconfident. So I was doing a catwalk towards the cycling area that, okay, now imagine 2 or 20 minutes cut off. I have done in 1 hour 45 minutes. Dude, I have whole time to go for like a good brunch or something and have it and then cycle. You know? So I went easy. I took my, hello? Yeah. So yeah, so as soon as I went to the cycling area, what I could notice is that out of 1,400 people who were there were hardly 300 cycles left. Already 1,100 cyclists are gone. And I'm like, all that happiness I had of finishing swimming is gone. I'm like, dude, I am from the like I did not even turn back and see that how many people are swimming. I was like, yaar, मैं तो बहुत तेज हूँ भाई, 1:45 मतलब I'm the cheetah. So again I got nervous, you know, and I started cycling. And because we had trained very well that time in Gurgaon, Faridabad Road, we used to cycle up and down on the valleys in Aravallis. So I started cycling with a lot of nervousness that what will happen. Oh, I think I'm late. I'm late. Though I had a lot of time. So I was good in cycling, you know, and because of all this and anxiety, I forgot about the route map we had studied about cycling, you know. So after 110 kilometers, which was rolling like this, there was a hill, which was almost, I think, 1900 feet up. So at 110 kilometer to 124 kilometer, you have to go 14 kilometer up with some 1900 feet elevation. So I finished my 110 kilometer in some 3 hour 30 minutes, which was very good speed if you ask any cyclist. But as soon as I reached the hill, that cycling speed of 32 kilometer per hour went down to 6 kilometer per hour. It was so slow that I could not even pedal. I was getting off from the bike because मुझे लगा अगर मैं pedal नहीं करूँगा, I'll fall, because we were, you know, wearing those cycling shoes which gets fixed to the bike. And I could see some other athletes also, you know, they were also like going through all these things. Now I already had crossed 300 cyclists, you know, while in that 110 kilometers of cycling. So I was going somehow and cribbing. I said, oh shit, why I did not train hard? I should have trained hard. I should have gone to Bangalore. There's a very famous hill in Bangalore called Nandi Hill, you know, where people go and train. So I thought I should have gone there and trained there. I should have gone to Shimla. I should have gone to Manali. Everything what you can think of, I started cursing myself for that. So now I was at the 124.5 kilometer mark, where I also forgot about one small information which was given during the briefing of this event. At 124 kilometer mark, I heard a noise saying, hey, India, India, stop, stop. I didn't stop. I thought somebody is cheering for me. I'm like, oh, wow, we have fans here in Spain. So I kept on cycling. This guy again came close to me, and now he started reading my chest, you know, my cycling bib number. And he said, hey, India, India, stop, stop. So this time when I stopped, I saw a big martial guy coming, you know, on a bike. And he said that, listen, bib number this, Abhishek, you're out of the race. You will not be participating in the race anymore. There's a bus coming, you know, you have to keep that bike in the bus and go back to the venue. This was tougher for me to digest than the visa getting rejected. I have done swimming part. I know I'm doing my cycling part well, and suddenly I'm out of the race. I'm like, what the hell? And when this happens, and this happens with everyone who's present here, they can accept. Sometime in our life, we hear some news which we are not ready to listen to. We're like, what? What? No, ये मेरे साथ नहीं हो सकता यार. How can this happen to me? So I asked him again. I said, what? Sorry, what? So this guy said that you were supposed to reach the 125 kilometer mark at 3 p.m. and right now it's 3:04. You're 4 minutes late. So you're out of the race. You have to put your bike on the bus and go back. By this time, I was crying. Like I had tears, but because of the helmet and everything, he could not see it. So I told him, I said, okay, fine, it's only 500 meters. You reach there at 125. Let me come there and we'll discuss. He's like, okay, he left. The whole reason I was crying at that particular time was not that he asked me to leave the race. I started crying because I was sponsored by Coal India, and my dad was working with Coal India at that time. And I'm basically from Varanasi. Now, I have seen this especially in Eastern UP, that if you succeed, or it's there, I think, everywhere, pan India. If you succeed, people will come and say, oh, wow, very good. Good, you did it. Nice, good. 10 people will say it. But if you fail, 1,000 people will go and say, oh, he couldn't do it, but he got money from Coal India. Oh, he would not have trained well. Oh, paisa kha gaya hoga. He would have partied with that money, So all that questions started roaming, started coming in my mind. And not because people will ask me, I don't care. Because I had already left my job and that I don't care about what society will say. But all these questions will be bombarded to my dad. So that pressure, thinking that what will he feel, I started crying and I started cycling. And when this happens, the whole life goes back in your mind like flashback. And I was again back to the same thing where my friend sort of sent me the video saying that you should do this event. And again, the same I can thing started going. And I'm like, why am I crying? If I'm not getting the Ironman title, it's fine. But what was the reason of starting this journey is so that I can change myself and become an I can person. So it was never about the Ironman title. It was about whether I can do it or I can't do it. So I started cycling and I convinced myself in this 500 meters that I will continue because I had time. You get 2 hours, 20 minutes to finish swimming. I finished in 1:45. So my all extra time got added to my cycling time. Now I had 8 hours, 10 minutes for my 180 kilometer of cycling, and I had enough time that time. So I reached that 125 kilometer mark. And I asked this guy, the Spanish guy, I said, okay, listen, you don't give me the title, but I'm free to cycle, right? You can't stop me cycling. So allow me to cycle and tell me which is the Ironman route, because there were 3-4 roads going here and there. So he started arguing. He said, no, there's that. I don't know, could be because of racism or whatever. But I had to argue for like 5 minutes. And I could see there were 60 people who were also stopped and they were also crying there. But then I forced him. I said, I don't need the title. If you want, you keep the timing chip and everything, but I want to continue. He's like, okay, fine. This is the route. Go. So I started cycling. Now I'm going down that same 1900 feet. So I'm going like very fast. I like once or twice I missed, meeting with an accident with cars which were coming up. So somehow I was cycling. This guy he came and tried to stop me once and twice in between, also saying that you will not get the title. Why are you cycling? You can go back in the car or in the bus. I'm like, that's fine. Let me go it. So when I was cycling, I was at 170 kilometer mark. I saw 2 twin sisters and we are still in touch. They were from England and they crossed me. And when they were crossing, I'm like, hey, I saw you crying there up on the hill. What happened? They're like, we got inspired from you and we also don't need the title. We want to do it for ourselves. This is our first race. See, this is how you inspire people. I didn't know I'm inspiring people there. But this is what happened. They said, we also want to do it for ourselves. And we started cycling. We all 3 finished cycling. And when I reached the cycling mark, I took 7 hours, 20 minutes, out of 8 hours, 30 minutes I had for cycling, and I had finished my cycling under the cutoff time. So when I reached, the same guy who was there, Marshall, he was there, the race director was there. So they came and they said, and I actually literally abused them. I was so upset. And I tell this guy to like just go off, and I want to run for myself and let's see. Now, running was my forte. I've been running for 6 years before participating in this triathlon. So I went and I started running, but there was a doubt. So I asked my other Indian guys. So out of 4 of us, 1 guy could not finish swimming, 1 guy could not do cycling. So we're like 2 of us were running. So I found him on the running track and I asked him, I said, what was the cutoff? Was it 3 or 3:15? Because it was not written there anywhere. So even they were not clear. So I'm like, anyways, chuck it. I don't need it, right? So I started running and I was running very strong. I was running very fast. Instead of 6-hour cutoff plus the additional time added, I had like 7 hours, 30 minutes to do my full marathon, 42 kilometers. I finished my marathon in 4 hours, 15 minutes. And then when I finished, they give you, they shout about you. They say, hey, congratulations, Abhishek from India. You are an Ironman. There's the red carpet, champagne, medals, everything. You are like a celebrity there, right? But I know that even if I have finished the race, I'm not going to get this title. So this is very momentary, right? So I did not took the Indian flag which I had carried. I did not had Indian flag with the finish, and I finished. So out of 17 hours cutoff, I finished my Ironman triathlon in 14 hour 20 minutes. So I'm like almost 3 hours before the time. But somewhere it was like in my mind. So I went. I got a picture clicked. Now back here in India, you can track the triathletes in this Ironman event. Okay, so everybody was tracking me. So they could see that Abhishek has finished his swimming in the cutoff time, finished in cycling in cutoff time, finished running in cutoff time, and total also he has finished overall. And as you know, I had used social media to express all my swimming and my visa thing. It's already 12:30 night, and my Facebook timeline had started coming up with "Happy birthday Ironman, Happy birthday Ironman, Happy birthday Ironman." Whereas I know that I'm not going to get the title, right? So I got the medal, and I was a bit sad. One Indian had finished. So we were in a party mood, but we were also upset because 3 other Indians couldn't finish it. Um, so we went back. We took the cycle. We went back to the hotel room. Couldn't sleep whole night. Now, people have been calling. My dad was calling, saying that media people has asked for picture, because before I was going, there were articles in media, talking about that I'm going from UP. Then some articles in Gurugram and all Gurgaon articles. So I could not pick up the calls. So I thought it's better that before people get to know on the website, I should go and express it. So I went and I changed my profile picture of the Facebook with that medal in the hand. And I wrote, I said, I would like to inform that I have finished the Ironman distance, but because of certain technical glitches, I will not get the title. But I have learned whatever. I'll share it, in another few minutes. So I wrote a very big, blog kind of thing along with my profile picture. You won't believe. I wrote that and I slept. I got up after 3-4 hours, like 3,000-4,000 people liking, hundreds of people sharing that post, saying, "Oh, congratulations." Nobody read the post. They only saw the picture and they started congratulating me. And I'm like, but dude, I'm not going to get it. The website says I'm an iron, but that result is temporary. They will remove it in 15 days. So next day was prize distribution, and I went to that arena and I wanted to talk to the race director once. So I went to him and I approached him, and he's like, "I'm very busy, Abhishek. This is my email address. If you can email it to me." I was like, "Okay." So I was sad. I was like, "That's fine." So we were supposed to catch a flight from Mallorca to Barcelona on 28th morning. So on 27th night, I wrote a mail to him that this is what has happened on the route with me. But as an organizer, as an event consultant, I understand that, these are very logistical cutoffs, because it was not mentioned anywhere in any of the cutoffs. So I wrote that email to him and I went back. Now my dad, he's been calling for 2 days, like 27th and then 28th, saying that pictures, though media people are calling. I could not respond back. So on 28th night, at around 8:39, I was in the balcony in Barcelona. And I was just looking at the sky and thinking that what should I do? That like, I know I could finish it. I know that there's another Ironman coming up in December in Australia. I can go and do it there, and I'll tell Coal India that, I'll wear your t-shirt again. But somewhere there's something, I'm happy I could finish it, but I'm not satisfied, So suddenly a mail came on my inbox. And this is like that email where you know that either you will be hired or you'll be fired, right? So you don't want to open the email and you want to see on the notification ki boss kya likha hai, boss ne appraisal diya hai ki fire kiya types, but you can't read the email. So I was trying to see the notification on my Apple phone. I'm like, ki kya likha mail mein type, but then I could not see what it is. So I opened the email, and the first line of that email was, "Congratulations, Abhishek, from India, you are an Ironman." Now when I read that email, I did not read the later part, and I called my dad. This was almost 12:30 in the night. He picked up my call, not even in half a ring, where I got to know that he was not sleeping from past 2 nights because of this. It's a very big pressure which was there on, because while I was doing my Ironman, these guys were doing puja on a Sankarji ka mandir in Varanasi, man. So I know the kind of pressure they were going through. So when I called my dad and I said, and I was obviously very emotional, I called him and I said, "Listen, I've sent you a picture on this email address, and now you can share it with media. And now you can tell everybody proudly that your son is an Ironman triathlete." He didn't say a single word and he disconnected. And now I knew that this is his time. Now he's crying. So that was the moment where I actually became the Ironman triathlete, not at the finish line of the red carpet where I got it. And then that night, wanted to share now, which I wrote on my Facebook was, see, three things happened in this whole journey, which I say that do it for yourself, whatever you do in your life. Two words, failure and success. And this is my definition now. And you can think back also, you can discuss later on. We have defined failure basis very subjectively. If you don't get 90% in your class 12 CBSE, you have failed. If you don't crack the IIT exam, you have failed. If you don't crack IIM, you have failed. If you don't get to MBBS, you have failed. If you don't have a good job, you have failed. And that was the reason why we see students committing suicide in court and other coaching centers. I failed when this guy came and said, you're out of the Ironman race. But if completing Ironman would have been my objective, I would have stopped and I would have gone back. And I think I would not have been right now sitting here talking to all of you guys, sharing my story. Because for me, that was not the point of failure. And then, after doing the Ironman, I became the Ultraman. I was the second Indian who got the invite to do Ultraman triathlon. Till date, there are only 14 Indians who have done Ultraman representing India. I'm very proud to share that I'm one of them who got the title for the country. If Ironman would have been a success for me, after 2 years, I would not have gone for the Ultraman triathlon. And I'm still doing those races. So what I realized that these two words, failure and success, are just words. There's no definition to it. These are just words which you need to experience. And if you consider it as an experience, there's nothing which will stop you. If you consider that, okay, I failed in this particular thing, it's an experience because might be I'm not a fit person for this, or might be my approach was wrong or something like this. Let me try something out. You will never stop. And once you get that, if you consider that as an experience, then also you will never stop. And that's why we talk about, say, position versus growth, because position is something, if you consider a position in any of the organization, and if you think that is what is success to become a CEO of a company, you will stop at that particular point. But if you consider growth as the part of that journey, you will never stop. You might become a CEO of I know my friend, she was the CFO of Philips Group, then Kane India, but right now she's the CFO of a very small startup, because she says, because that's where she gets to learn a lot in a new startup. So this was the story about my first Ironman triathlon, which I say, I gave it a name of there's a chapter in my book called Run to Realize. And the chapter name is Do It For Yourself, because I understood these two words, failure and success, are just words. And if you start considering your failure as an experience in life, you will never stop. So these were the two learnings, and this was the story about my first triathlon, which I did in Ironman. Obviously, I can't see the expression of lots of people, so I don't know how they felt and what did they feel. But this is how it ended, and it's still going on. I'm trying to train lots of people who can go and do endurance sports, because I feel endurance sports teaches us one thing. And I'll give you one line which I gave in one of the talks when I was giving a talk in Siemens in Mumbai. They asked me about open door policy, that, and they were all HRs of Siemens all across the world, where there's some 250 HR people. And they said, what is something in endurance sports which you can tell us to learn? So I told them, I said, a tired mind has no ego. So when they asked me to explain, I said, you ask your CEO who sits in Mumbai to run a 10-kilometer distance, and you ask your housekeeping guy who is in Delhi or in some plant to run a 10-kilometer distance, and you keep a small 200 ml Bisleri bottle at the end, and nobody else. They don't know who they are. They don't know the position. They don't know what they do, but they have a common vision, is that they want to fulfill their thirst. And that's the one objective they want to achieve. So once that's there, once that's common, they will not have any ego in sharing that bottle of water with each other. And that's the another amazing learning of endurance sports, that if you're tired in your life, you will not have any ego. And once you don't have any ego, there's nothing which will harm you in your life ever. That's from my side for today evening. I obviously have multiple stories of lots of my runs in the deserts and here and there. But over to you, Mudit, again.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. And let's have a huge round of applause for that amazing story that we've just heard.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wow, what a story. That was a roller coaster. I mean, I never expected that you would still finish that race when you had that guy coming in,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and you still finished it. And the best part is the kind of learning you derived from it. And then you went on to do a lot more from that learning.
yep.
That was amazing, Abhishek, and quite inspiring to all of us. Let us now
Thank you.
open the floor uh, to the reflections. We will keep the reflections short because we have a lot of people joining in today. Let's start with Manpreet. Manpreet, if you'd like to come in and share your thoughts.
Sure. Abhishek, I still have goosebumps
Yeah.
following that incident.
So even I have, yeah.
So it was fully emotional. First of all, let me comment that you are an excellent storyteller as well. So,
Oh, thank you, sir.
so you really inspired other people. Apart from the learnings which you told, I think one of the subtle learning which I had from your story is uh, you mentioned that how there was a situation when someone believed in you, but you didn't believe in yourself.
Yep.
And that converted to you believing in yourself, then others didn't believe in you.
True.
And then the third step was once you started on that path and you proved, then others also believed you.
Yep.
Right? So I feel that I'm in a similar situation where I'm right now in phase 2.
Okay. Okay. That's
So,
great.
so
Yeah.
you are way ahead of me in that particular thought process. So I was stuck in that 3 phases, which phase I'm in. So I was in phase 2 that somebody told me you can do it, and I feel like I can't do it. Certainly, it's not Ironman in my case. It's my own battle.
Anything. Yeah. 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 Anything. Yeah.
It's my own battle. So certainly, I could relate a lot with that particular thought process. And it's
Wow.
the Ironman I felt is that you had your strong mindset to do Ironman in your mind first than on the real field.
True. True.
True. So that's what I really draw as an inspiration from you, and looking forward to how I jump from stage 2 to stage 3, where I believe in myself and others also support me. Over to you, Madhur. Thank you, Abhishek.
Wow. Great.
Thank you so much, Manpreet. Moving on, let's have Abhishek Jindal, who is joining us from Michigan. Abhishek, you can unmute and come in. Abhishek 2 to Abhishek 1.
Thank you, Modit. First of all, congratulations, Abhishek. A
Thank you.
wonderful
Thank you.
journey, wonderful journey. So, I don't have a reflection. I have a question to you, basically. You made your passion as a life career, right? Now you are doing this as a full-time, you can say a job, or it's your passion to train other people into endurance sports, change
Right.
people's mindsets about support, about sports and all that.
Right.
But as a middle class, because I have been raised in a middle class, it's really difficult to convince our parents that this could be a way of living life. You're getting my point, because most of the
Yeah. Yeah.
parents think.
I've been asked this question. I understood what you want to ask, and I think you won't believe. The day I left my job, I didn't tell my dad for like a month, and then one day when he called because he had a doubt, I told him. I said, "Listen, I have left my job because he was trying to get me hooked and then get me married." And someone came to see me in my GE office where I was not there. I was in Ahmedabad. So I had to call him and I had to tell him, I said, listen, if you have sent somebody to meet me, I'm not in Gurgaon, I'm in Ahmedabad, and I've left my job. I'm not on my sabbaticals. The first question he asked, and that surprised me, and trust me, me and my dad, we didn't speak for a week. He didn't ask me what my plan are and why I did it and all those things. He asked me, he said, you left your job? What people will say, log kya kahenge? And I was shocked. And I'm like, my dad is asking me what people will ask. Ideally, my dad should ask me what what he has in his mind. So that is the social pressure we live in. And that's why when I started this story, I said it's all about stories. And ideally, in a 1 hour talk, I start with that only. I got 59% marks in my class 12th in CBSE board, where my topper was 99%. Okay. And when I got 59%, the whole society, and my dad was with Coal India, so that we had a column kind of officers thing, and Shipra knows that because she lives there right now also. So everybody starts talking about you that you have failed in your life because you have got 59% and you are from science side, so you are not a bright student. So then they start deciding future for you, you know. And
Absolutely.
that was the point. So like right now what I'm saying is, so I tell people that, you know, till 2013, where I realized that what I want in my life, and I got the courage and I left my job in 2014, I used to tell stories to run away from people, to hide my fear, you know, because when I got 59%, I started living life to justify others कि अच्छा आपको लगता था मुझे engineering करना चाहिए, see I'm doing engineering now. But what I did in engineering, I passed somehow with 60%, being the worst electrical engineer I could ever be, or this country could have ever seen. And then I went to do MBA, because if I go back to my place, everybody will say, अच्छा engineering कर लिया, अभी क्या कर रहा है? But dude, I'm not doing anything. You know, so I went to do my MBA. So I've been creating stories in my life so that I can run away from people's question. You know, so
Right.
when this happened, then back to your question, somewhere you need to be rigid. You know, like your parents are also rigid when you are 2-year-old, 3-year-old, that eat this food, this is good for you. So when your parents are old and because they're concerned, somewhere you also have to be rigid when you're clear with your mind and thought that what you want to do in life. So it took a year, and when I was invited to the same Coal India by the CMD of that Coal India to give me and honor me with the same medal and something, and the picture came in the newspaper and my dad was there in the picture, I think that was the time he stopped asking questions, because he thought that whatever I'm doing is justified. So though it took time, it took some 1.5 years though, in terms of my passion. And in 2018, I raised around 1.5 crore rupees as a investment, first round of investment for my sports consulting firm. So when so my dad's entire life saving was 1 crore, and when I got 1.5 as a investment in my company, my dad was walking like this everywhere, and like something is there in my son why people are investing in his company. You know? So
Right.
now he's fine. He never asks questions now, but it takes time. It takes time.
Absolutely. And I hope that your story should reach much more people than it has reached till now, so that the parents can learn and children can get inspiration from you. Yep.
That was the reason of writing the book, sir. The book name is called Run to Realize. If anybody of you love reading book, it's on Amazon, Kindle as well as paperback also. And the book name Run to Realize Aspects of Life. So it's a very philosophical book. I talk about ego versus self-respect, reaction versus response, you know. So the idea was for that book to reach out to as many students and corporate people so that they can read and they can, if I can inspire even 1% of them, that's the idea. That's the idea to live life now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good luck to you, Abhishek,
Thank
for
you,
your
sir.
future
Thank you.
endeavors. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek. And just a very quick announcements for those of you who have switched off their cameras, they won't get a chance to reflect. So if you want to be speaking, you need to switch on your cameras. And all right, so we have a few cameras on now. Kritika, you can come in with your reflection. You need to unmute yourself, Kritika.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, Abhishek, first of all, I was completely awestruck. The whole journey that you have been telling, the whole story.
Thank
I was
you.
like, okay, one after the other thing, after the other thing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And just like Manpreet had mentioned, there were goosebumps. So when you started telling that your friend had come in the picture, and then you shared on social media about what you are going to do, and then this was one of the part where I could resonate. But then I just do it for the sake that once I have talked about it publicly, now I am accountable to do it. I mean, I am
I do the
in a
same.
position to.
Yeah, I do the same. I do the same.
Yeah, so I was able to resonate on that part. But then further, I was just listening, and all the things that you had mentioned about you not running for the success that people had been thinking, or the Iron Man. But then the success, the whole definition of success, you had a different thing. So I mean, throughout the thing, I was, somewhere wondering that shayad maybe try kar, matlab, I can even think about, going
Yeah, you can.
forward
You can. Why
to,
not?
training clients.
The first Iron Man from India was a woman in
Oh, is
2006.
it? Wow.
And
Okay.
from 2000, in 2006, the articles in the newspaper used to be the first Iron Man from India is a woman.
Oh
So
God.
yeah,
Okay.
you can. Why not? You can.
So
Like I
probably,
said, you can. Yeah.
yeah. So definitely, I'll check things out how the things are, and then I'll, bug you.
Yeah, sure. I'm there as everywhere, anywhere you Google Abhi running. Abhishek is Abhi and running. Abhi running. You will find me everywhere. Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere is Abhi running. So you can message me every time, anytime when you need any help.
Okay, definitely. And thanks a lot for sharing your story. I
Thank you.
am glad that I was a part of it and I could, get to know your story. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kritika.
Thank you, Kritika. Let's have Aditya now. Aditya, you can unmute and come in if you have a reflection.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Abhishek, I think it won't be a stress to say that yours deserve to be turned into document.
I
Your
think
audio,
voice.
Aditya, you can switch off your video. Your audio is cracking.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Abhishek, I don't think it will be a stretch to say that your story deserves to be a documentary. Thank you so much for that reflection.
Thank
And
you.
all I'm taking away from this is the aim in life should be growth, not
Yep.
a destination. It is a journey after all. Thank you
True.
so
It
much.
is.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Aditya.
Thank you. Let's have Vishal, who is also a stand-up comic, and he has also left job to pursue his passion. So probably he would be able to reflect closely to this. Vishal, over to you. You can unmute and come in.
हाय अभिषेक
Hi, Vishal.
सो आपकी स्टोरी तो बहुत इंस्पायरिंग ही है पर ऐसा है कि 8th क्लास में ना मेरे क्लास में एक लड़का था उसका नाम अभिषेक था वो फर्स्ट आता था तो फिर जब मैं कॉलेज आया तो वहां जो लड़का फर्स्ट आता था वो अभिषेक था फिर जब मैंने कॉमेडी स्टार्ट की तो उसमें जो मेरे कॉलेज से पास आउट कॉमेडियन है उसका नाम भी अभिषेक उपमन्यु है
I know Abhishek.
तो मैंने कहा भाई मैं जहां भी जा रहा हूँ यार ये but my take away from your story is two things. First is कि when you look at your failure as an experience, then only you can see the possibility of you being cause in the matter.
True.
Then only you can see the actions, because it is not the end.
Correct.
It's if you think that this situation is failure, then you are closing the gates because you are thinking of the circumstances as a fixed configuration.
Very true.
And second is that thing that you shared about your family, that it takes time to basically they have question, and those questions are not basically theirs. It's like
Yeah.
the people who doubt themselves.
True.
It's like people have queries in their mind and they reflect their queries on you.
Doubting
अरे
it. Yes.
या तुम तो सिंगल मर जाओगे अगर तुमने इस तरह नहीं की नौकरी तो ऐसा कैसे चलेगा ब्रो ठीक है क्या जवाब देंगे अपने दादा की जमीन को ठीक है तो वो चीज so it
True.
was really I got certain answers ki okay if I keep myself confident and give myself self time because नौकरी में भी लगते ही है साल तो ऐसा तो है नहीं कि 3 हफ्ते में प्रमोशन मिल जाता है
True.
so if I give enough time then I will have answers and
Yep,
through actions I can totally transform their thinking also.
Right.
So it was really nice listening to you, and you
Thank you,
look really
Vishal.
fit, man. You look really fit. I can't beat you in that. You are the only Abhishek that is unbeatable.
Yeah, because this Abhishek ये first नहीं आता था कभी ना.
Oh, nice. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Vishal. Thank you.
And Vishal, dude, I hope you were listening when he said that he did the Iron Man. So he has to be fit. Unless you joined in late.
Exactly. Otherwise, it's like a BJP scam.
Okay, no comments.
Yes.
No
Let's have
comments.
Shivangi now with her reflection. Shivangi, you can unmute and come right in.
Hi everybody. Hi Abhishek. Thank you so
Hi,
much for
Shivangi.
sharing your story, you are a superhero, man.
Thank you. Glad you loved it.
Because yes, completely. I mean, obviously, your dedication, your determination, as well as whatever you said, I mean, that obviously inspired, I guess, everybody, including me. I do walk in the morning. I walk 3 kilometers, and
That's good enough.
I try to run, but I just cannot. I mean, like a minute or two, I'm in a pace, and then suddenly I feel like, nah, now I'll just walk. And I always think, how do people run? I mean, and now after hearing you, oh my god, I am speechless.
That's the easiest thing to do, which is walk and run, because that's the first thing we learn as a kid in our, in terms of physical activity when we are born, that we start to run and walk. I was last year July, I was running in Thar Desert in around June, which was like 50 degrees, and I run barefoot. I run in my sandals. So when I was running in Thar Desert, people were like, "Ki, tu daurta kaise hai yaar?" So I'm like, how do you answer that? How do you run? It's like it's a very natural process, but it comes. Everybody has their own interests. Not everybody has to run a marathon or something. The only reason why I tell people to run is, and this, Will Smith has said this, not me. I was listening to him once, and Will Smith said that everybody should read and run. And why? Because when you run, you have that me time. Even when you walk 3 kilometers, it's your me time where you think about what you're doing in life. It's like a flashback, what you do every day. And like I said, that when you're tired, you can go back, instead of your anger, you can go back to this thing. And then when you read, you understand that there are thousands of people who have gone through what we are going through. So you get the perspective of looking at different things in a different way. So if you're doing 3 kilometers is also good enough. Trust me, there are lakhs of millions of people who are still sleeping on the couch.
Thank you, but I want to run. I hope to get some gyan from you, some
Anytime, DM
inspiration
me, we
from
can
you.
discuss. Yeah.
Surely,
Just
I will
message
do
me.
that.
Yeah, we'll do that.
And in fact, the best part of your story was you didn't give up. I mean, that is really awesome, because probably anybody else would have just given up the moment when the guy said that you are ill, you are not eligible for the
Right.
race now. So, I mean, I think that is the best part. इतना करने के बाद में you still carried on just for yourself. And I mean, once you do it for yourself, you get the
Yep.
success. This is what the learning
I think
formula.
another reason of continuing was because I gave up once in the beginning, if you remember. When my friend sent me the video, I actually gave
Yeah.
up. And then he made me realize. So I think that happens. It's like a life is like a sine wave, right? So once you go down, you have to come up, right? So I was in that up journey, and I think it's still going up. So you'll not believe, after doing 2 Ironman races and an Ultraman, which is 10 kilometers of swimming, I went to Malaysia and I got a DNF. After swimming 4 kilometers and cycling 100, I had a fall, and then I went back and I started drinking beer. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to do it now. Imagine.
Oh.
And then when people got to know, they're like, how can you be a DNF? You're an Ultraman. I said, so what? So what Vishal said, so fitness is also level. If you don't train, you can't do it. Like I've done 6 Ironman races. Doesn't mean I can do the other one, which I am going to do. So it's a very continuous process.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story and inspiring all of us, including me.
Thank you, Shivangi.
Thank you, Abhishek. And we have a notification that Manpreet has just bought your book, and he says thanks for giving it to us. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's
It's
there on
on
his
Kindle.
Kindle. Yeah.
So I would wait, Manpreet. I ask every person who has bought the book that once you read, if you like it, do share the review on Instagram, which is on Abhi Running, and the Run to Realize page is also there on Abhi Running. So I shared it, and that's how I've not launched the book. I gave a copy to Rajwardhan Rathore when he was the sports minister, and I asked him to read. He said, "जब मैं पढ़ लूँगा तब हम launch करेंगे." और उन्होंने पढ़ तो ली, बट फिर वो एज ए स्पोर्ट्स मिनिस्टर लॉन्च नहीं हो पाए, तो मेरी बुक भी लॉन्च नहीं हुई. Vishal, this is for you. It could be a good punchline. But so I've not launched it, and that's how people are buying. They're reading, they're giving reviews, and people are buying it. So I'll wait for your review, Manpreet.
Sure, Abhishek.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's have Rajesh. Rajesh, you can unmute and come in with your reflection if you want to. Rajesh, you're on mute.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I clicked it and it didn't work. So,
Okay.
hello Abhishek.
Hi,
This is
Rajesh.
Rajesh, and first of all, I would like to congratulate you for all your success and all the fame
Thank you,
and
sir.
on the book and everything, basically everything. Frankly, I haven't been much of a sports person, but this goes beyond sports. This goes beyond sports. The main because you can always draw parallels between sports and life.
True.
So one thing I really appreciate is when you were told to you were disqualified, but still you thought that it's about the experience, it's about me, not about any title or anything else. So
Right.
that kind of attitude is a very positive thing to come out of this story. We always think we in work we think that I'm doing this for the promotion, or in school or college we think that I'm doing it for the rank, but
True.
we never correlate these things with our experience कि हमारा
True.
if you this will enrich me as a person, this will uh, increase my experience, this will somehow add to what I am. So
Right.
that is a very awesome attitude, a great attitude, and that really inspired me first of all. And
Thank you.
that was that literally that is the best takeaway I've gotten from the whole session. And the whole story was a uh, very thrilling kind of story. And
Right.
towards the end, I'm glad it worked out for you. It was like a Bollywood ending, happy ending. And I'm glad it worked out for you, because I was like kind of feeling sad that you still finished, and just because of those 4 minutes you were not getting the title, but you got it.
Right.
So that was a very pleasant surprise. So congratulations to you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
Rajesh.
very much. Thank you for sharing. It was a really great thing to listen to me. This has been the most giving thing of my whole day. Like, this has been the most productive experience
Wow.
of my day.
Wow.
Thank
I'm
you so
really
much.
happy and glad. Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh. Let's have Kirti in. And Kirti, if you can unmute and come in.
Thank you so much. You guys can hear me? I still am doubtful. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. I'm still awestruck. Okay. To start from the starting, when you were just saying I was about to give up, I was about to write to Rakesh that, hey, dude, I have to cook and I have to go. I'm getting late for my office, blah, blah, blah. And when he said, I cannot, I am quitting, I'm like, what? What? He's saying something which I am having in my brain. Then I'm like, okay, stop. Literally, I was cooking whole time, doing my stuff, everything which I have to do for my whole day, because I'm supposed to go to work. But I was in this everything, and my housemates got to know that I have burnt all my veggies which I was cooking, because I was listening to you.
Thank God.
And ultimately,
Oh, so sorry for that.
that's okay. That I didn't bear. I was there. They had to bear that. So
Oh, God.
ultimately, I started cooking again. Then I came. I'm like, okay, now I literally have 15 minutes because I have to drive and I have to go to my work. But I was awestruck. The most documentary Bollywood picture. Rakesh, please write a book on it. I love to see that. But dude, hats off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kirti.
Thank you for having me here. I'm so happy I could make it, because literally I was doing that drama. Oh, I'm busy. I have to go for work and all that, But thank you so much. I really appreciate. I have two questions.
Yes, please.
Like, first of all, how did you arrange that much money to support you, man? कोई दो चार इधर भी भेज दो.
I started doing crowdfunding.
Yeah.
And you won't believe, when I started doing crowdfunding for my Ironman race, there were people sending me $25,000. Like, I met the Microsoft head HR. She was for talent acquisition in Hyderabad for once. And one day I got a notification, 25,000 in your account. I'm like, job to kar nahi raha hu, main paise kahan se aa rahe hain? So when I checked, it was her name. So some 1.5 lakh rupees was given to me through crowdfunding. And then Coal India said that they will sponsor me 3.5 lakh. So it was total expense of around 5 lakh for my first race. Then I stopped the crowdfunding part. And then remaining races, Ironman races are not that costly for me. It cost me, say, around 1.5 lakh. So I charge a lot. So like when I go for a corporate talk for an hour or so, I charge a bomb. So that gives me all this money to keep doing all these races. My Ultraman race was very costly because the fees for Ultraman itself was 1,20,000, which my very dearest friend Milind Suman paid, and I'm yet to give
Wow.
back to him. I've not given it back to him. I'm like, "Tumko kya karna? You are a celebrity. You have crores of money." So, but I think, you know what? One very good thing what I've realized since 2014, I left my job. I had never run finding out where the money will come from, even for my company, you know. And like ask Mudit, he knows. When we did the first event in Lucknow, we had spent around 22 lakh rupees and no sponsors. Okay, so all that money I had to sell stakes of my company to get that money. And they approached us. They said we want to sponsor it, and then Indian Oil become the partner, funding it for 2-3 years. Then HCL came on board. So till date, for any of my ventures which I run, like 3-4 IPs I have, all the money has come on its own. We just try to maintain the quality. That's it. So same is for Ironman races. It keeps coming.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that because I was a sports person back then, but then met many accidents and everything. And running, especially for me, like normal people, वो चलते हैं. मैं चलते चलते बोर हो जाती हूँ तो मैं भागना शुरू हो जाती हूँ. So I'm like, यार दिमाग
That's
नहीं यूज करना
interesting.
पड़ता ना, भाग लो.
Actually.
हाँ, so you don't use your brain, so you just concentrate on your breathing and you just run, right?
True.
But frankly, India से भागते भागते Canada आ गई हूँ. So it's like another horizon, right?
Right.
So
Nice.
and second, although I don't want to pursue that because I have my health issues, I'm working on that and everything. But second question my is कि कोई लड़की मिल गई कि कोई भाई कोई NRI भेजूं यहाँ से मैं.
Okay.
अनम्यूट करना पड़ गया मुझे इस पे तो.
So yesterday my Jiju called from and I'm okay, so I'm 84 born, so I'm like 35 now, and my Jiju called and he's like कि शादी का क्या सोचा है? I said politics के बारे में पूछो तो कुछ सोचा है, शादी का तो कुछ सोचा नहीं है. So लड़कियां मिलती हैं, but running का एक ड्रॉबैक है. तो या तो वो आपसे तेज दौड़ रही होती है या वो आपसे धीरे दौड़ रही होती है. इन दोनों ही केस में वो किसी और के साथ चली जाती है. So
I like it.
yeah,
You got a good point.
same pace वाली रनर अगर मिलेगी NRI तो you can introduce, but tell
I'll
her that
introduce. I'll find.
my pace also keeps varying. Okay, so it's very complex, huh?
But you gave me one punchline because my Jiju also called me. I'm like, गाड़ी ले ली, गाड़ी वाला कब लेगी? So this punchline is good. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, guys, I have to go now. Thank you so much, Rakesh.
Thank you for
Kritika,
joining,
it was good
Kriti.
seeing you. Yeah, bye, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, and thank you, Kirti, for that matchmaking insights as well.
That was my nonsense, man.
Thanks.
Don't take it
Thanks
serious.
for joining.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Rakesh.
Bye.
Love you, buddy. Bye-bye.
All right. So who else is left? You did hear the rule number 1, which said you need to switch on your camera. So in case your cameras are off, you may not be getting a chance to speak tonight. And before we end, we'll be waiting for you to switch on your camera if anyone else is left. And let's have Rakesh to come in and with his reflection.
Hello, Abhishek.
Hey.
Yeah, it was we were talking from 6:45, and before 7 also we were talking, and now it is 8:15. I'm still having goosebumps. Yeah.
Someday I'll tell you another story. Someday, whenever we'll have time.
Yeah, definitely. I love to hear that. But the two things which I take from this your story is that from today onwards, I'll be saying I can instead of I can't. So yeah, that I can't is I have left before 7:30. I left that I can't, and after 7:30 now I can. So the I can will start from now on. So that's the biggest thankful, because means I am also in that midlife crisis situation and everything. So the can or can't is coming again and again in our minds. So from today onwards or now onwards, I can will come before, or I can't will never come. So thank you for that. That was a brilliant takeaway. And the second thing which I used to catch these kind of things more the way you inspired in the race the twin girls, the England from England. Yeah, means you are running a battle, and you are in a difficult situation, but still you are inspiring people. So even today, I am running those distances right now. Because I'm running in those difficult times, but still I'm able to inspire or not inspire, or sometimes success, sometimes failure. So that thing resonated me very much. So thank you for that. And the third thing also it came into mind that that 500 meters which you ran at that which you I think ride bike.
Yeah.
So those 500-meter, I will not give up. Means those 500 meters. So that was way important when everything was going. Why I had not gone to Nandi Hill? Why I had not gone to Manali? Everything. So those 500 meters.
I've still not got to those places. I am yet to go to Manali and Nandi Hills and all. Yeah.
So one more thing I want to share that I started marathon 4-5 years back in Powai. So I ran half marathon to 4 times. Yeah.
Right.
So and after running that Powai marathon, I was searching, I was checking the Google and all, and I saw a video of some marathon in Egypt. I don't know, it was having some very peculiar name. And that video inspired me very much. I don't know what was that. It was Egypt. It was all desert. And
you're talking about there is there's a run which happens in Sahara Desert also.
Yeah, very difficult name.
Yes.
But the video when the race ends and everyone is finishing the finish line, and the expression, emotion on their face say everything. So today in this Caravan talk, I am going to revive that thing, and I am going to run that marathon. Yes.
Wow, superb! All the best. Even I want to do it one day. I don't know when will I do it, but yeah, because I've done. So the reason of doing Kutch Desert in 2015, and then I did Thar Desert 2019 is because I wanted to do that run one day. Yeah.
Egypt one day. Yeah.
To Egypt one day.
So over to Mudit.
Thank you, Rakesh. And so we are going to have just two more people who will be sharing their thoughts. And very quickly, let's move on to Jay first, and then Simarveer, you are next. And then we'll be closing the session for tonight.
Yeah, Abhishek, मतलब आपकी जो स्टोरी था, it was really touching. एक चीज मेरे को इसमें समझ में आया, there is a very hairline difference between success and failure. When you are about to Marshall's told you that you are just out of the race, so that was that gap line, and that was only hardly hairline gap. So but you didn't give up.
Right.
Okay, but what happened in most of the situation, or say 90% or 99% of people, that time they give up. That okay, just imagine if I would be there that place, I would have thought the same thing. Okay, I lost this battle.
Right.
But you didn't you didn't give up,
because the battle was actually not that now. So that's I'll tell you what. Okay, so if you'll read the book, there is another topic in the book which says intention versus intensity. If your intention is clear, that why are you doing this, right? So then the intensity, it's like the purpose. So if your purpose is, so my purpose was not the Ironman title. My purpose was to, like what Rakesh also said, that my purpose was to become the I can person. So tomorrow, if suppose you say that Abhishek, go and become an astronaut, I will not say I can't. I'll say okay, I can, but whether I should or I should not, that is the call I have to take while going through that journey. So when I was going through the journey of training for the Ironman race, I understood that I can do it. And that was the reason I didn't say, when that guy asked me to stop, I didn't stop, because I had understood that I can do it. So when your intention is clear of why you're doing it, anything, why you're getting married, why you're working with this company, why are you going out for a trip or a travel or a trek or a photography or a show or a talk, once that intention is clear, you will find your priorities accordingly. And that is what, I think happens in life. So once your purpose is clear, that purpose decides the priority, and the priority will create a habit, and that will become a lifestyle. So you will stop quitting, and you can differentiate between failure and success then at that time.
Yeah. Thank you. I have a big takeaway from your story in my own life.
Yep.
Yeah,
Wow. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. What Rakesh has told me is, I can't and I can. Means your life story just make us think in that manner also. Thank
Right.
you. Thank you, Abhishek. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Over
Thank
to
you.
Malik. Yeah.
Thank you, Jay. And let's hear it from Simmerveer. Simmer, you can unmute and come in. Simmer, being also a national level tennis player, he has been into sports and would be able to relate closely to what kind of endurance you would have gone through. And Simmer, it seems your video is stuck. If you are able to listen to me, you can probably rejoin or switch off your video and come in. Okay.
I think network issues.
Yeah. Yes. Seems like network issue. So let's move on. And ladies and gentlemen, we are coming towards the end of this session, and you can, okay, Simar, we can see that you're moving. You can unmute and come in. Or probably switch off your camera if you are facing some network problem.
Yeah, sorry. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, hi Abhishek. First of all, thank you for sharing your wonderful story, which is full of adventure. I think this story needs to be told and told far and wide because it reflects and reeks of grit and determination. I think the being a sportsman, I can I have played some part of my lawn tennis that I play professionally.
Right.
From my experience, though I've never run a marathon, but I know a few things about endurance in sports. Is that there comes while you're running, a long distance race, or when you're playing a very long match, there comes a point when you're playing, and when your body is just so tired and exhausted that there comes that moment, that phase when you're thinking mentally whether you should give up or not.
Correct.
I think that is a barrier. If one breaks, I think everybody is an Iron Man. If he's able to break that barrier, that's a mental block which always occurs. In fact, I was playing just at the time when the talk started. I was playing that moment, and I was so tired and exhausted that my partner was pushing me to play another set, and I was like, should I or should I not? And then I thought, it's my passion. I can give it another go. So I, did not listen to my body that time, which is not a good thing. But I just went on, and it gives you pleasure and gives you that sort of mental toughness.
True.
That's something that I think everybody needs to know, that this barrier in the mind, not only in terms of a race or anything that they want to pursue, can be broken if they are at it, and if they decide to go, do that in order to achieve what they want to. But another thing is what I learned from your story is that also brave decision making also matters a lot. You quit your job, you learned to swim in a matter of 3 months, and learned it, and you just didn't learn it, you excelled at it, and excelled at it to the extent that you completed that the bout of swimming during the race. I think that's an exceptional thing that you did, and the fact that you are passionate about it, it's manifested in the fact, and it's evident in the fact that you're following up on your passion, which is by writing a book and coaching others. So it's just not a a fling with that particular sport, or just a matter, and also the fact that you're when you lost the race as per the official, you thought, you went back and you thought, because you had the experience of marathon running and this habit of breaking your mental barriers. I think it's that trait that you developed in your mind, that you thought that you probably, you should complete this race just for yourself, and you, because it's your passion, that is also manifestation of your passion. So kudos to you for that, and hats off to you. I think you have
Thank you, man.
A long life ahead and so many races to go for. I wish you.
Yeah, there are.
Congratulate you for all you've achieved.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Simmer. And we have one more person to go. Shipra, if you're there, you can unmute and come in. And then we are closing the session. Okay. So it seems, Shipra, if you're not there, we'll be moving on towards closing the session. So everyone who's there, you can put on your cameras for a final photograph before we close the session. All right. And on 1, 2, Rajesh, and on 1, 2, and 3. All right, we are done.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. And there is one thing for sure that we have come to conclude, that there should be a movie on you. That was something reflected by.
Yes, very true. There should be a movie.
But trust me, there are. I'll just take one more minute. Obviously, see, Milind Soman become a celebrity when we were doing Ultraman in Florida. And when we were supposed to swim 10 kilometers, and we swam and we cycled 150. Third day, I saw a guy called Daniel. Okay, now Daniel was 67-year-old with one leg and one limb, artificial limb. Daniel he swam before, he finished his swimming before us, 10 kilometers swimming. He cycled first day 150 and second day 275 before us. And then third day, obviously running, he finished after me. But imagine, in cycling, every 2 to 3 hours, he was stopping and he was changing his leg. And then in running, every 2 hours, he was doing it because of the sweat which was going in his limb. So when we came back to India, there were lots of people at Delhi airport to, receive us, and then came back to our place. It was 12 in the night, and they were like partying and all those things. So Milind was sitting like in front, and I was sitting on these stairs, and we were looking at each other, and everybody's like, "Oh, you are Ultraman," because that time there were only 4-5 Indians who had done it. And we were looking at each other's face, and they did the same thing. They said, "Iske upar to kuch banna chahiye." And we were quiet. So they asked us, they said, "Why are you guys quiet? Like, you have done this." I'm like, because we have seen a 67-year-old guy with one leg finishing it before us. So then how can I tell that? So trust me, there are bundles of millions of stories which we have seen and experienced, So for us, that guy was the inspiration. Like, he has finished Badwater race, which is one of the toughest ultra race in the world. So I think movies unke upar banni chahiye. We are to just a mere human being who are just doing it and challenging ourselves.
Thank you for adding that another very inspiring thing towards the end. It truly is inspirational. And guys, we are towards closing the session, and so before we close, I would just like to leave you with this one particular thought. And before I do that, I would like to personally thank Abhishek for coming in and speaking to us tonight, sparing his time and schedule, because as we know that he has a lot of things to do during the day as well. And he's also giving a lot of talks online to corporates during this lockdown. Adding to that, he was also volunteering to a lot of relief work when COVID-19 lockdown happened, which I could see and I was following as well. So kudos to you, Abhishek, for that job as well. And
Thank you,
before we conclude, there's just one thought that I would like to leave you with. As Abhishek mentioned and was a part of that video as well, there are two kinds of people in this world. One who say I can, and the others who say I can't. Now it is up to you on which side of the story you want to land. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and let's meet again Sunday 7 p.m. next week. Bye-bye.